Hello everybody, welcome to another day of Cosmoteer. And today we have a brand new update. It's a Meltdown update. They have added a ton of new things. So before I know showing preview, it's no longer a preview. It is officially in the game. So what I mean by officially in the game, if you come over here and you look at the heat, they have all the heat pipes, heat exchanges, lots of new changes. One of the things that we're going to be covering the most today is the built-in ships. They have a brand new faction, brand new combat ships. They've added 92 new combat ships. I'm sure it's not all covered right here, but they have even more, as well as probably Imperium, Fringe, Cabal. They probably have all brand new ships. So we're going to take a look at these right now. Loading the first one, and we're going to look at all the new things that they have added to the game. So one of the first things that we're looking at right here is you'll notice that there's heat pipes in this, and that almost all the weapons are overclocked on this new faction, this IO faction. Now each one of the overclocked weapons do something significantly different than what we saw in the preview and the official release. Also, these right here, these heat exhaust radiators, they now cost actual command points to build. What I mean by that is, here, let me load another ship and take a look at the next one. What it does for these heat ones, so if you come over here and you look at it, it casts 5 actual command points to build these, which makes it a lot harder to do heat exchange on your actual ships. One of the things they did, and I'm going to come over here on the outside of the game and scroll down and look at them. So each one of the overclock weapons do something significantly different. So I'm just reading off the chart here. Laser blasters, which are the small blasters, they increase the rate of fire and replaces laser bolts with instantaneous energy beams, but lowers the damage of each shot. Move on to the next ship while we're reading each one of these. The next 2 ships would be this one, and that one costs way too much, so we'll pull in 2 of these ships. Heavy laser blasters increase the damage of each laser bolt and adds a splash damage, but reduces the rate of fire. And for those that are wondering how to overclock, you just come over and left click on the ship right here, and this little button right here is overclock is on. Disruptors allow disruptor bolts to phase through solid materials and cause the energy drain effects to linger after the initial impact, but reduces shield penetration and the instant energy drain on initial impact. We'll move on to the next ship. This one right here. This one actually looks kind of neat. 1.5 million with ion prisms. Ion beam emitters cause the ion beams to destabilize nearest target, creating chaotic and powerful lightning strikes in the area around it, but prevents the beams itself from directly hitting its target. So that's what we're looking at right here, is the ion beams don't actually hit the ship, is it causes these lightning storms, and it just does some crazy interesting damage. Those are overclocked. That actually was pretty neat. They had a huge area effect. Let's look at this one more time. So ion beams, and then it also has this heat weapon on it too, this thermal resistance lance. Heat damage does tons of area effect damage. As you can see right here, the ion beams are not actually hitting the shields, but causing this chaotic lightning, which does huge area effect damage. It rips things apart. It's actually really, really neat. I don't know why the left ship is now doing better than the right ship all the time, but there's definitely consistent. We have these heat exchanges, pulls heat, but you can see right here, even though this is an in-game ship, you can see it's having heat problems right here with the ion beams. You can see right here they're catching on fire, but then they're putting the fire out, so maybe a little bit more heat exchange pulling from it. Still, this is a pretty neat ship. I like that. Let's move on to the next one. There are a lot of ships to cover here. This looks like one of those starter 8 crew ones. Okay, we'll move on to the next one that's reading in here. Standard cannons, and this is when they're overclocked, fire salvos of multiple shells at higher velocity and longer range. And this is where you can see the instantaneous fire of the small lasers. We'll read this one again. Increases the rate of fire and replaces the laser bolts with instantaneous energy beams, but lowers the damage of each shot. So you can see right here, small lasers are firing super fast, but it reduces the damage But I think the instantaneous now is no longer be able to be stopped by flat cannons, maybe. I don't know exactly. I'm seeing this for the first time like everyone else here. Let's move on to the next ship. For those that are just joining, this is the brand new faction that they just brought out with the brand new update that they brought out. This is railguns. We'll read the railgun one. Railguns, when they're overclocked, improve the efficiency of longer railguns and increases projectile speed and damage, but requires a charge up before firing and stops penetration once its damage potential is exhausted. So that's where you can see right here, the railgun, it takes some time to charge up before it actually can fire. Very interesting. We'll move on to the next one. The next one we have here is another railgun. Wait, no, that's the same one. We'll pull in this one, and we might pull in another one. No, they're not the same cost at all. So we'll pull in this one. This is a 4-crew ship. This one just has that small laser that's overclocked. You can see all the different designs. You can see the heat pipe exchange, which grabs heat. They also have this right here, this heat exchange that pulls it. And then the radiator, which reduces the heat from your ship. Heat is a very new mechanic to Cosmoteer, causing very, very interesting new effects. You can see right here the thrusters, small thrusters are also overclocked. Let's go ahead and we'll read off small thrusters. Small thrusters, all variants, greatly increase thrust and power efficiency while significantly improving dynamo power generation, but also increases power consumption. So that's pretty interesting. You can also overclock small reactors and reactors. You can see right here, it's not overclocked, it's actually off. So you can overclock small reactors to increase its power generation, as well as large reactors and all the rest. Let's move on to the next ship and read off each one of the reactor ones. We have the Asha. Interesting. So let's read off the reactors if I can find it here on the lists. Reactors, okay. Let's look at this real quick. Oh, this is the heavy beam. So large. Well, let's read off the reactors. For small reactors, increase maximum power capacity and generation rate when they're overclocked. Medium reactors increase maximum power capacity and generation rate. Same thing. But large reactors increase maximum power capacity and generation rate. Additionally, increases battery size from triple capacity to quadruple capacity. That can definitely increase a lot of things. So if you come over here and overclock a large reactor, it will do significantly differently. And then they also have power capacitors, which triples the power capacity of both power capacitor itself and the individual stored batteries. So that definitely adds a huge new mechanic to the actual game. This one's 1.9. This is a brand new ship as well from the faction. Let's see this one. Now, I don't think I'm going to go through and read all of them. I actually like to go and review each one of the ships. You can see right here they have these, I guess they aren't the new missiles. I was expecting the new missiles, but our community has built a lot of new ships. You can see right here the ion beams. They did a storm, which rips apart an area effect damage, which is actually a really cool new mechanic. But you can see the ion beams don't hit where they're supposed to hit, so you can add a whole new different dynamic to the game as these are causing this lightning storm that hits away and destroys. It would be interesting to mix up these two different type of beams. So if you have ion beams, some are overclocked and some are not overclocked, I can see it doing, some will hit for penetration and some will do this area effect. As you can see right here, it's ripping apart because of their placement. So placement of ion beams are definitely going to be, the overclock mechanic on ion beams now is very different, because it explodes near wherever it's hitting, and then see how it's ripping apart in very different directions, which on this ship right here is actually pretty neat with the missiles and hitting here like that. And then you can see right here these capacitors are overclocked, and you can see when they come in and they grab it from it, they're pulling in 3 charges instead of just a simple. Are they only carrying 2? So this one's carrying, this is just a medium reactor. So a medium reactor is only carrying 2 and they're carrying a 3. As you see right here, they pull out a 3. Does this charge 2? It only charges half. You can see right here, it only charges a small port. Very, very interesting new dynamics with this. Let's pull on the next ship. 1.3 million. This one has those heat resonance lances on top. It has the deck cannons. I do want to read the deck cannons as we come into it. Deck cannons, when you overclock them, increase shell damage, velocity, and accuracy, but lowers rate of fire. Stops penetration once its damage potential is exhausted. I don't know what that exactly means. You can see right here, deck cannon fire shots fire faster. It looks like they're firing a lot slower, and the penetration is not as... I don't know exactly. Let's pull the inside of the ship. A lot of new things to test with everything that has come in here. You can see there's a lot more fires, a lot more heat. I don't know what the developer's going to do about this area effect heat. Fire extinguishers just don't seem like enough to cover all the heat to put all the fires. You're going to need to put a ton more fire extinguishers in here somehow. Definitely a lot new things. Oh, shields. Let's read off the small shields. Let me find it on the list. Small shields. Small shield generations enables choosing between expanding the shield to cover a large area or shrinking the shield to cover a small area while becoming stronger. So what that means here is this right here. There's this little button. You can do smaller shield for reinforced or larger shield, which extends it out and makes it bigger. Let's just click the button so you can see it. You see right here, now it makes it as this huge area effect, radiating, and it can hide behind armor. So definitely cool new placements between small shield, which has this nice cool rainbow light color, but higher protecting compared to a larger shield. And what would be even more interesting if you see somebody's playstyle and you actually come over here. Let me just restart the battle and show you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about this, but I've never actually tried it. You come over here and you take all these shields. I'm going to hold Control and Shift and select these shields. And if this was hotkeyed, it doesn't look like there's a hotkey for it. But if you can change the shields right in the middle of battle, and you can change this to larger shields, and then come over here and switch them to smaller shields to protect it. So you have it so that you're actually controlling your ship and switch to smaller shields between larger and bigger. That could change your play style with how your smaller shields are placed or your bigger shields, and then you can even layer stack them too. So thinking about that, you can see right here, there is no hotkey for doing what I'm thinking. But that could really change the gameplay. I'm sure that people that develop the game or a lot of people have seen my videos. So that's a different idea that might come in. The developer might think of maybe adding a hotkey to this so that you can actually change them if they're planning to keep this in the game. But the game is definitely changing significantly, as you can see. So that is just something off the top of my head as I was watching it. Let's move this how to play thing. Let's bring in another ship. The next ship we can bring in here. Now I've already lost track of where I was, so we'll just pull in this one and see if it was the same. Oh, this is the same ship. Pull in a different one. Next one is Anvas. This is a smaller ship, something you encounter more. A lot of people play the game from the beginning to middle game. I don't know a lot of people that reach the end game. Even myself, on the first playthrough, I didn't even play through the end game. So you'll see more of these type of ships coming through. These are the small lasers that are overclocked. You can see instantaneous, almost firing, but lower damage. I would say mixing between the two, because you can see right here, the ship right here, the small lasers are definitely overheating and they're causing fires. So the people that built these ships, the fire damage alone to itself in these in-game ships is pretty huge. You can see right here, they're losing crew members and losing fire just from a single battle. So I think these ships need to go through some redesigns just so that it has enough heat, because you can hear here, after just one fight between itself, you could hear the crew members. You lost crew members, they lost a whole lot. It has damaged itself, and its crew is still staying at 24 crew, maybe because it's in the actual game that it restocked itself. But I heard crew members. How was this? They lost the laser, but they didn't lose this? That's interesting. Hold on, I need to recap this. You see right here, there's still crew space, but the laser's gone. Is that different too? That's a different dynamic. Yeah, the laser was gone. Did it burn up, but it's left the crew space? If the laser burns out? I'm just asking myself questions. This is the first time I'm seeing this with the update. I totally stopped playing after the previews. I was waiting for the official release. Now they actually have the official. So if you blow it up with lasers, it blows up this whole path, and so there's no way to walk away to these lasers anymore. But what I was wondering is when that laser burned up, and this might just happen right here, does it actually take out the space and leave the crew? How did that actually happen? I'm waiting for one of these to burn out. Or is it not going to burn out? And they're still on fire, but they're not disappearing. I don't know, that was interesting. Maybe it's a glitch? Fires are not destroying it. It's that one hit point. But they're not going. I'm just trying to see the mechanic on this. These are all fires, and you see the fire's not spreading, so it's kind of like a firewall. That's interesting. Over here, this ship's totally, completely on fire, but the pipes are not on fire. It doesn't spread. These are still at 1 hit points. And it's just constantly taking small amounts of damage, but it's not blowing up. Definitely interesting. Oh, okay, so if you have doors right here, that doesn't block it off. So it can travel through the doors to the heat pipes, but it can't spread if the heat pipe's just there by itself. Very interesting. I wanted to see these things blow up and then keep the corridor, but it's not, so... And then the reactor didn't explode even though it went down. Where's the reactor? Where'd the reactor go? Power capacitor. Hyperdrive. Storage bay. This is a small reactor. Okay, the small reactor, but it hasn't gone to 0 to just 1 hit point yet. Still on fire. All right, definitely new mechanics. We'll have to play with that a lot later. Let's move on to the next ship. I don't even remember where I was. I think it was in this one, so we'll come over here. This is the railgun ship. I don't know how to pronounce that. Flak cannons. What do flak cannons do? I don't think I read that one. Let's go over here and see if I can find flak cannons. That one blew up really fast. Let's restart the battle because it's a railgun ship. We'll read off the flak cannon when it's overclocked. Flak cannon shells are packed with shrapnel and that lingers in space for a short while after detonation, damaging any projectiles and blocking any energy beams that pass through it. So that's what this cloud of... I don't know if I like the images of it. So these are these clouds. It doesn't feel like it's blocking railgun shots like how the previous did. Very interesting. Whole new mechanics. Totally new difference in the game. Alright, move on to the next one. Next one, we'll go down the list. We're on this one. This looks like a baby one. 4 cruise ship with cannons. The cannon is overclocked, as you can see over here. We'll read off this one. So is this a small cannon? No, this is standard cannon. Standard cannon, where is it on the lists? Standard cannons fire salvos of multiple shells at higher velocity and longer range. Very interesting. Let's move on to the next one. A Balam. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Balam. Let's see what Balam is. Balam is a whole bunch of flat cannons and the heavy lasers. I know I read off the heavy lasers, but I see a lot of people joining in and out. Let me just go over here, scroll on this list of this new update. Heavy laser blasters increase the damage of each laser bolt and add splash damage, but reduces the rate of fire. And this is where this is a wall of... Okay, so I see the effect. So when you overclock flat cannons, you can see right here, this is this wall of... Was it stopping its own shots for going out? I don't know the answer to that. It makes it look so... maybe the animation, for me personally, I think the animation should change a tiny bit. There's me, I have an alarm going off. Let me go find one. That is interesting. But what I want to know is it blocking its own shots? So you see right here, I don't see any shots coming out of the ship. Son of Colossus. Hi, nice testing. Well, thank you. This is the first time I'm seeing this, but you see right here, its own shots. I think for the own ship, it's blocking both enemy and friendly fire for the Flak cannon. So that's a different, interesting change as well. Let's go to Barbotas. All right, Barbotas. These are those new heat resonance lances. The new ships, just like how you're saying, they do seem like they need to go through some revision. Some of them look pretty interesting. Brand new for everybody, even the developer, I'm sure, with all the new updates, because they've made a lot of new changes, may need to go through some, definitely some revisions. And like I was saying before, if the developer sees this, or whoever sees this video, what I would like to see next, and I know I mentioned this before during the preview, is I would like to see something more than just fire extinguishers for heat, for fire. I know we have these heat exchange stuff, but that doesn't actually stop the fire from spreading or stop the actual fire. The only way to stop fires, as of right now, is to put fire extinguishers on. You can see right here, it's not effective in the internal part. So maybe some way to stop fires or put out fires externally, right? Because if you think of it in real life and how we have, even in real life, we have helicopters that carry huge water supplies, or even missiles that fire out missiles that can extinguish huge large area effects. So that's what I would like to see. I'm sure the developer may think of that, or someone might suggest it to them, but that's just my own 2 cents of what I think should come next. If they're gonna, since this is in the game now, this is officially in the game, with all the new heat, if you have heat missiles, maybe there should be heat, or like, I don't know, fire extinguisher missiles or something like that. I'm just throwing out ideas. I have no idea what they're gonna do. Honestly, this animation for the Flak cannons, I know he wants to make it as a cloud, but to me personally, that doesn't look like what a Flak cannon should do. Even if it's overclocked, it just doesn't, this doesn't seem right, and I'm being just judgmental here. And then it also stops friendly fire, as well as, I wonder if it stops deck cannon fire too. Friendly fire deck cannon. I'm gonna watch this one right here to see if it fires. Okay, I didn't see this deck cannon go through, but you know, this one also has Flak cannons, so maybe they're, I don't even know which one's friendly fire, which one's enemy fire for all the Flak cannons, because you can't tell. That would be another thing, maybe as an enhancement request. Son of a Colossus said, my solution to adapt the game to me is to use mods. That's another thing. The game can definitely be heavily modded. I have been showcasing the game a lot without mods, but definitely this game can definitely be heavy modded. I don't even remember if I did this one. These two ships look very similar. So we're just going to go into this one because they're both 1.6 million. So now we look showcasing 2 different ships. Okay, that one's different. Okay, this one's a railgun with deck cannons. And those heat resonance lances. And then the Flak cannons. Okay, so Flak cannons right here. Your friendly fire Flak cannons. Doesn't look like it stops it because you can see it's stopping the enemy heat resonance lance from coming out from Flak cannons. But this Flak cannons from allies is going through. So very likely what I was thinking before, I know I said earlier in the video, I was thinking that your friendly Flak cannons were stopping fire, but because both ships had Flak cannons on them, you can't tell which one's friendly fire and which one's enemy fire. That'd be a nice enhancement request, but I don't know if the developer wants to do that. It's up to them. Just give my own 2 cents. Alright, we saw this one. Let's go into this one. Is 447,000, so they're not the same cost at all. 447,000. 84 crew. Oh, I'm liking the new heat missiles on this forward facing. Can you overclock heat missiles? Okay, so you can't overclock heat missile launchers. Would be interesting to see overclock ships versus small cost normal ships. That for sure is a good test. I don't know if I can cover it in this video. I don't even know if I can go through all the ships in this video, because I do have to possibly jump off, and let me just double check to make sure everything's going okay. I like that idea, testing regular ships against the overclock ships, which I will get to, but not on this particular live stream. We're trying to get through all of these actual ships. Let's go. This one's 836. They're not the same cost at all. There's a ton of ships to cover. I might have to speed through them somewhat. This is a heat resonance lance with shields. They got heat missiles coming out of the back. Those new thermal missiles. You can see right here, you can switch them. Thermal canister missiles, for those that are new, you can do mining, you know, all the different nukes and stuff for those that have never seen the game. But you can switch up the missiles or how they're firing. It's Reek. Lit ups. I don't know what you're saying there, Son of Colossus. This is very interesting. I mean, the ion beam changed. There's so many different play styles with the new ion beam overclocked. You can see here with the lasers, the ion beams, they don't actually hit the area, and instead they produce the cloud of radiating beam with the lightnings that hit a whole bunch of different areas. I can see it working very well if you mix between overclocked ones and non-overclocked ones. Yeah, there really are a lot of new nice ships, and this is only the new faction I'm showing. They have 92 new combat ships in the actual update, if you read the actual update. And my problem is they don't list all the new updates that they produced for Cabal, Fringe, or Imperium, or listing where they added them, because you can see right here, I don't believe all 92 ships are just right here, or maybe I could do some quick math here. 4, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23 times 4. That might be all 92 all new combat ships. Huh. I can't do it off the top of my head. Math's hard when you get older and you don't practice it a lot. I've totally lost track of where I was at. I think we're on this one. We're gonna go to this one. I think we might have seen that one already. Yeah, I feel like we've seen this one. Yeah, we've seen that one. We haven't seen this one. Okay, this is the large cannon. So large cannons, and I thought I read this one, but we're gonna read it anyways based on the overclocking, if I can find it on the list. Large cannons. Okay, let me pull this one off. This one just costs too much. Large cannons. I am losing my section. Large cannons causes each cannon shell to break apart upon impact into multiple smaller incendiary shells, each continue penetrating into the larger ship. That is very deadly. Overclocked large cannons. I can see huge mechanics working with large cannons. See, you can see right, it's overclocked. Large cannons overclocked. That could definitely do some pretty interesting effects. I see that as being pretty neat and amazing. All right, let's move on to this one. We're going to pull on another ship. We're going to do 2 at a time. So you don't lose my section. That's an overclocked ion beam emitter against... Okay, this is where they're mixing small, or not small cannons, standard cannons with large cannons. Oh, that could be so... Hold on. I like this test, like he's saying. What is that, 1.5? If you do a standard ship, even if I were to do something even bigger, I bet this ship will rip this thing apart. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I get past the shields. Okay, it's not gonna get past the shields, it looks like, because I don't have any way to get past it. But the damage it can do, let's lower it down. That's just too much for it. I was expecting a little bit more. Let's do something like that. So our standard ship on this side right here versus these cannons that are overclocked. I would hope and expect it actually to rip through those shields. And I see that it just did. So yeah, the overclocked ship right here versus something like this. And I know the cost is a little bit, it's actually cheaper. 22 crew, 158,000, and I have 200,000 for 18 crew. I have double shields on here, disruptors and everything else, and this is what I used to do. Thor Craw says, I love this game, I have to play. Yeah, the brand new update just came out. I was just informed of it last night. I don't know exactly when it was released, but I know it was released very, very soon. I'm just doing this video really, really quickly just to showcase it. First time looking at it, didn't even pull up the game. Those cannons. This area effect splash. You see right here, this incendiary, this one right here. The area effect. Oh, I don't know why I slowed the game down. I accidentally pushed the button. But this right here, this penetrating shrapnel. Wow, large cannons overclocked are pretty amazing is what I think I'm gonna say. All right, let's come back over here to the new IO faction. For those that are just joining, we've been going through a lot of the ships. I don't even know where I was anymore because a lot of these have similar names. I think I was on that one. So we're gonna go to Camille and we'll pull in this one. I know I'm speeding it up because I am running out of time of how long I could do this video. But let's see, small lasers, overclock, they do instantaneous. This one's a lot of small lasers. I wonder, can this shield do the same? Okay, the shield can't do the same thing as a small shield. It'd be kind of neat if the radius could be even bigger or expanded out, same thing like the small shields. I know I threw out some strange, crazy ideas, but that would be pretty neat. And then this one right here. And you can see right here, this has to go through redesign, just like how people were saying. You see how these are overheating? There's not enough heat for this for when you're taking that amount of damage. And there should be other ways to put out fires, in my own personal opinion. The game is perfect for me because I love when spaceships explode and the pieces just fly around. Yeah, there's definitely cool mechanics in Cosmoteer. Let's go to the next one. Oh. And I know these two ships don't even fall in the same category of cost range, but this one is just a large cannon with a shield, and this one is missiles. It's a missile boat, heat missile boat with two small lasers. Honestly, in my own personal opinion, I think disruptors would be better with heat. Or maybe regular disruptors, not overclocked disruptors. Overclocked disruptors are pretty neat because they penetrate through, but they don't penetrate through shields. So based on what we read. So having a mix between overclocked ones and non-overclocked ones could definitely play a significant new role in this. Did these two, let's do this one. Lara and Ligos. Greetings from Germany. Welcome, Nekiro. All right, deck cannons, and this is where I would personally, in my personal gameplay, is mixed between overclocked deck cannons and non-overclocked deck cannons. Mainly because overclocked deck cannons, they fire very, very slow. The projectiles fire fast. But then what would happen if you un-overclocked it and then rotating so they fire consistently, and then you have overclocked ones that do what they're supposed to? There's just so many new mechanics now that you can do overclock, non-overclock. Then you also have to figure out what you're going to do with heat exchange and everything else. So lots of new mechanics to play around with here. Let's pull in Ursa. And let's pull in the Extinguisher. The Extinguisher is just huge, huge ship. This is a railgun ship with, wow, look at all the small thrusters on this. I knew it just blew up the other ship. I didn't even take a look at it. Ursa. The Ursa ship is just a small laser blaster with a disruptor overclocked. Yeah, completely annihilated with railguns, obviously. How does effectively does this thing do versus Fafnir? And I'm gonna pull in 2 Fafnirs just because I'm more curious to see how this ship does versus 2 flanking railgun ships versus just one big one. I want to see the maneuverability of it. The main reason I do this is you see the extinguisher has all these small thrusts. How does it handle this? And you can see it's handling that very well. These ships don't have any... I guess it do have some back reverse thrust for its pivoting, but it doesn't have any maneuverability to get behind this ship right here. Very interesting if you were to run into something like this. I'm actually wondering 3,000, 300,000, 3 million, sorry, 3 million. Do some normal ship. My normal ships are not even going to stand a chance. But what I want to see how this handles versus something like this. Okay, 3.38 million. We got 2 ships, and this ship, because it has the MRT. I was wondering if it could actually maneuver fast enough. It turns pretty fast, and it can. But then this is what I was wondering, is how it handled from behind, which he has point defenses in the back. And they have some defenses. I don't see any shields in the back though. But with all this maneuverability, it still has a ton of side-to-side thrust and/or turning ability. But if you get 2 ships from behind, or 2 ships and one comes and flanks from behind, I'm liking that the railguns are heavily protected even from behind. Even though I had 2 ships come from behind, because of the flat cannons too. Honestly, this bigger ship, this 3 million one, is performing far better than I was expecting. Even with the other ship that came from behind, took out 1 bridge. This ship is still performant, even though it got fire and lost that section. More performant than I was expecting. As a railgun ship, normally its biggest downfall is they're very light, they're very fast. This one's a heavily armored railgun ship, and even though I came behind and did some significant damage in the back, this ship is still doing massive damage. Let's see, how much is the game? Because how much this Steam card has to be worth it so I can buy the game. So currently, right now, as of today, in Steam, the game is 30% off. They just released a brand new update, and it's $13.99 US right now, is what they have it as listed. Honestly, the game is worth it even at full price in my own personal opinion, but that's just my own opinion. You choose what you want to do. All right, we looked at the extinguisher. We looked at this one. We haven't looked at Floris, and we'll pull the next one. Heat. I'm liking a lot of these new designs with the heat, with the lasers, and the lasers, ion beams. Now this one also has ion beams. This one's totally overheating, way too fast for it. Yeah, the one that costs more. This one has shields. Where the one I didn't see shields on it. Yeah, there are no shields on this one. Just armor. What you can see here, the ion beam is because they're overclocked. They don't hit where they're supposed to hit. They hit area effect. So definitely a good thing to switch back and forth between them. Very, very interesting. Very, very cool. Let's pull on the next ships. Whoa, we're in here. Pull in those 2. Let's pull in Forest. Let's pull in Formius. Yeah, it is definitely a lot of new things they've added here. Oh, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a cannon ship. So this has 2 large cannons and a whole bunch of small cannons. This ship right here, if you ran into this one, I didn't even look at the Forest one very much. This is a smaller one. This ship, 436. Pull in a standard ship right here. I know I'm going back and forth and I'm running out of time, but if we were to pull in just a standard, and I have to re-update all the ships, especially with the new updates. This is a 542 with one deck cannon, not overclocked. Okay, so it's missing its... Honestly, disruptors, when they're overclocked, these ones right here, I don't... Is it actually sapping energy? Okay, so it's taking energy from the shields, but you can see right here, it's not... I don't know. I have mixed feelings on overclocked disruptors compared to regular disruptors. You see right here, I have regular disruptors on this one, and regular disruptors really do hit the shields. You can see where they're hitting, and they can rip off the shields. Where these ones they are sucking power internally, as you can see right here, but it's not like they're doing damage. What is that? This green cloud, is it that's because it's the disruptors are sucking that much energy? I don't know. There's a big mix between what is good and what is not good between disruptors overclocked and not overclocked. Lots more testing. But you see, it didn't do damage. Oh, it lingers for a few seconds. It's definitely, I don't know. Maybe you mix between them. Some overclock, some not overclock. But you got to remember, if you overclock any weapons, they're going to produce heat, and they can catch fire if you do not have enough heat exchange on them. So, all right, let's pull the next one. Combat. We were on 4. I don't remember if we did it for this one. Furcus and the gap. Oh, that's an interesting placement for the heat missiles. This one's too small a gap. But the real test is to come over here and grab 2 more gaps. Where's that gap? Gap. So we have 3 gaps versus this other one. These are the tests I like to play with. I just didn't have... I like I have time. Okay, so you have 2 large cannons. 3 of these ships versus 1 of this big ship. And the big ship overclock may win. Okay, it's catching fire here and there, but yeah, this ship right here, it's running hot. Where's the power? Okay, the power's right there. Are these overclocked? Honestly, I would switch the sections of this. If I was building this ship, I would take the small reactor, put it over here, put this one over here, so that this one's closer to the shield. This shield. I guess there. I don't know. This requires, for me personally, a redesign to make it even more powerful, but you can see 3 of these ships, very similar class, a little bit more crew. You would expect 3 ships, especially with double these large cannons, should at least do a little bit more damage to this ship. But you see these point defenses when they're overclocked, because they self-regenerate, they have their own self-regenerating dynamo. I know I probably didn't read that, didn't I, in this video? Let me find it. There's a large list of changes. Point defenses. Okay, point defenses turns on a dynamo that slowly regenerates power, allowing the point defense system to fire for short periods without ever receiving batteries. So that's where this is. This is where the huge new mechanic comes into play. When you overclock point defenses, you don't need to add any walkways to them. You just have these little heat exchanges to pull heat from it. Now, in our own Discord channel, they've been testing a lot. Hoshell, welcome. Hoshell has tested. He's sent me a whole bunch of different screenshots of what works better and what does not work better for point defenses. I never played with it. I know he's showing me all the different cool mechanics. I'll have to test it for myself, but a lot of new things. IBN 666 don't like the PD changes. Makes no sense. The self-regenerating dynamo. Honestly, I think the good sacrifice, IBN, it would be that the dynamo, if you overclock them, think of it like nuclear reactors. So they add a new little nuclear reactor. There should be, because if they explode, they should cause like huge heat damage or something like that. That would be the exchange. So they self-regenerate, but if they're overheated, because they have a little self-healing dynamo in them, which would be like a nuclear power generator that self-powers itself, it should cause a bigger heat explosion and do more damage to its area. That would make more sense to me. Well, you know, that's just a suggestion. I know a lot of people watch my videos, so we'll see what happens. Now I totally forgot where I was. Okay, we're looking at Gap. Looks like a Gamagini. Well, next I have to speed up. I am running out of time. Gamagini. Honestly, and those that are just watching now, my idea was you come over here and you select these shields, and because you could do something like this, make this a hotkey. I hope the developer does this, or somebody decides to do it, so that you can switch between hotkeys. So you can switch between playstyles, between focusing, shield protection, and actually not. For those that like to fully control their own ships, because it's in the game, and we can switch shields, and you can switch shields right in the middle of combat. Switch some shields to bigger, and switch some shields to focus, to help protect your ship, so you can fully control your ship more. Think of yourself as a real actual space combat. That's what I would personally do. So you actually hotkey these actual shields. Like some in the middle, some can be bigger, and then some can be smaller to self-protect. You can see you can do that in the middle of the game. That would be a really cool mechanic if you could add hotkeys to that. That's just my own personal opinion. Chain guns. Okay, if this one has a chain gun, let's read the chain gun one if I can find it on this list. Reading it off the list of updates. Chain guns, where is it? I don't see it on this huge long list of stuff. Chain gun, I found it. Okay. Chain guns projectiles become... That's accidentally. Projectiles become explosive tipped, causing splash damage and greater overall destruction, but reduces the rate of fire and requires the chain gun to rest briefly after every 4 shots. I don't know if I like that. What kind of games do you play? Okay, so what I've been playing most recently, and I like this question right here, is I've been playing Miscrits, which is a game that came out on Facebook. I never played it on Facebook, but I have already spent a ridiculous amount of hours on that one. I play a lot of survival strategic games. I've been doing Cosmoteer because it does get a lot of people that view it. I know I haven't posted a lot of videos recently because I've been very, very busy with work. ABN666, I'll be trying to mix of reinforced normal and extended shields to protect prisms. Maybe double total defense that way. And front-facing radiators for weapons was really interesting for some ramming ships. That is also going to change the complete game completely with the new ramming ships and the new capabilities with heat. I know I did this one. Let's do this one. I can't pronounce its name. Hearse. We'll pull in 2 hearses. Hearse. Wait, what kind of defense does this have besides the heat rails on this thing? Its only offensive weapons are these 2 heat, but I'm thinking it has something else in it, which is making it so much stronger. Or is it these things right here? Large amplification pump. So even though it only has 2 weapons on this thing, because it has tons of heat reducing, didn't I have 2 of the hearses on it? Okay, this is small. This thing doesn't have anywhere near as much offense as this thing does. And you can see the heat resonance lancer are much bigger, and you can see the area effect damage it's doing to all this armor. It just rips off this armor. If it just had some way to do a little bit of I don't even know if it needs it. Rip off the shields, disruptors on it. Thorkai have some ideas of games I can play. Honestly, it's more of a time issue that I have right now, is what type of time I have to play games. And with all the new changes here in Cosmoteer, there's so much more to do. Build now. I'll have to sink more time into this game. That's actually a pretty interesting ship. Alright, we are at, where is it? H. Hearst. Okay, we're going to stop at Hearst. I know there's still so many more ships, K through everything else. I'll have to do another video probably later and go through ships of K and on. So we'll probably have to do a second part of this video, but we'll just pull this one in for right now. I am going to wrap this up because I have to go. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. If you enjoy this content, please feel free to hit the like button. Helps me out a ton. Helps to push out this content to other people, bring awareness to it. If you like, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, especially what you don't like so that I can improve and make better content. If you'd like me to show a video on Miscrits, which is the game I've been playing the most recently, I'll gladly do it. If you just leave me a comment, tell me you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, we'll just do more Cosmoteer stuff. But I do want to showcase all the ships, so we'll do a second part of this video later, maybe either later today or maybe tomorrow when I finish my work, but I have to go. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. You all have a wonderful rest of your day.